Last week, the New York Jets suffered their first loss of the season to the Steelers, and in the process, lost quarterback Vinny Testaverde. Deja vu of last year? Well, Simon Potter reports from the Big Apple as the Jets prepare to face the Patriots.
On Monday, Vinny Testaverde was nowhere to be seen. He was getting treatment for the pinched nerve that knocked him out of Sunday's loss to the Steelers. Memories of last season, when he was lost for the year in Week 1, are still fresh for most Jets fans. On Monday, it looked like another season without the #1 quarterback. With a 6-3 and nearly led the Jets to the playoffs. Despite his lackluster display last Sunday, the Jets firmly believe in Luke.
I've got a great defense.
On Wednesday, Testaverde practiced, but the Jets refused to say how much and for how long. Officially, he's listed as questionable for the trip to New England. In English, that means he's 50-50.
I don't have that grabbing, that pinching that I did on Sunday when I was turning my head from side to side. So, like I said...
Injury-free. Their only worry for the visit of the Jets tomorrow is cornerback Antonio Langham, who's questionable with a leg injury. The Patriots have undergone a revival of late after a disastrous 0-4 start to the season. It all began 2 weeks ago with an outstanding victory in Denver. That win was only their second success over the Broncos since 1980 and was their first win in Denver since 1968. They followed that with an 8-point triumph over Indianapolis last Sunday. Now they look for 3 in a row. The Giants' 3-game win streak to start the season was based on the thunder and lightning running game of Tiki Barber and rookie Ron Dane. However, first Washington and then Tennessee weathered the storm, held the pair in check and recorded victories, the Titans restricting Dane to minus yardage. The Giants only got back to winning ways against the Falcons last Sunday, Dane scoring the only touchdown of the game.
I believe that this is a football team that if you think you're going to just line up and hammer them up front and run the football and win the game, I think that you're in for a long day, that you've got to be able to make some big plays in the passing game.
One potential match winner has defected. Since the Ravens beat the Jaguars in Week 2, racking up 39 points in the process, with quarterback Tony Banks throwing for 262 yards and 5 touchdowns, their offense has had trouble finding the end zone. Banks has yet to throw another 200-yard game, although hasn't needed to, with the defense posting 3 shutouts in 6 games. However, their last 2 wins have come courtesy of 9 Matt Stover field goals. Since the Ravens almost replaced him with Joe Nedney last November, Stover finished 1999 with 18 consecutive field goals and is 18 out of 20 in 6 games this season, 47 yards being his longest. They could be relying on him again this week, unless Banks starts converting the yardage into touchdowns in the end zone. Having spent millions in trades this year, the Redskins are making roster moves again. Kicker Michael Husted was waived this week and Chris Hetner was signed in his place. Husted has converted only 4 of the 8 field goals he attempted this season, the longest being 29 yards. Offensively, wide receiver Irving Fryer has a bruised nerve in his right shoulder that will force him to miss the next 2 games at least. That will put extra pressure on their other veteran, Andre Reed, as Dan Snyder's boys look for the consistency that is
Jacksonville's offense has fallen apart, and it's easy to figure out why. Tony Baselli's hurt. He's playing at about 60% of his ability. Leon Searcy's out for the season. Big Ben Coleman's gone, and no one can protect Mark Brunell, who's had to scramble for his life, or open holes for Fred Taylor, and he's been hurt as well. That leaves Jacksonville offense depending on Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardell, and you can't have an offense depending on 2 wide receivers and nothing else. The Jags were preparing to beat Tennessee this year. They went out and got Hardy Nickerson from Tampa specifically to stop Tennessee's running game, but if their offense doesn't function, it won't make any difference. And rushing is the key to the Titans' offense. Eddie George ran for 181 yards last week. They controlled the ball for 41 minutes, and even though it was against the Bengals, it was still an impressive performance. What Jacksonville planned to do was to stop George's running game, stop Frank Wycheck over the middle, keep Steve McNair in the pocket, and make him beat you going to the wide receivers. Carl Pickens has been hurt, Yancey Thigpen's been hurt, Kevin Dyson's out for the season, so it seems like a good plan. But again, if Jacksonville's offense doesn't work, no revenge.